Today we're going to be talking about Salvador Dalí, or in full, Salvador Felipe Jacinto Dalí y Domenech, was born May 11, 1904 and died January 23, 1989. He was named after his older brother who had passed away before Dalí's birth, thus giving Dalí a complex because he always felt he had to live in his brother's shadow. Later in life, he was to become one of the most wildly popular surrealist painters and printmakers of the 20th century, hailing from Spain, known for his explorations of subconscious imagery. During his time as an art student in Madrid and Barcelona, he incorporated many different artistic styles that displayed unusual techniques used for a painter. In the 1920s, he was influenced by Sigmund Freud's writings on the erotic significance of subconscious imagery, which then got translated into his work in the surrealist movements. Once these two facets combined, Dalí rapidly matured as an artist, not to mention he was amazing at publicity and getting people to notice him and his eccentric personality. From his mustache to his home, everything about him was different and eye-catching. In this video, we will be dissecting how Dalí used surreal concepts to create double image paintings using unrelated objects. The Paranoiac-Critical method is a surrealist technique developed by Salvador Dalí himself in the 1930s, or as my favorite part of my research was hearing him say, Paranoiac-Critical method, in an interview when people were asking him what exactly it was. He used this technique in the production of paintings and other artworks, especially those that involved optical illusions and other multiple images. The technique consists of the artist invoking a paranoid state where they force the psychological fear that the self is either being manipulated, targeted, or controlled by others. The result is a deconstruction of the psychological concept of their own identity, and this is where the subjectivity becomes the primary aspect of the artwork instead of an object, like how a still life usually focuses on a piece of fruit. The aspect of paranoia that Dalí was interested in and helped inspire the method was the ability of the brain to perceive links between things that rationally are not linked. More simply put, it was a process where the artist found new and unique ways to view the world around him. Dalí described the Paranoiac-Critical method as a, and I quote, spontaneous method of irrational knowledge based on the critical and systematic objectivity of the associations and interpretations of delirious phenomena, end quote. Whew, that was a mouthful. Using this method when creating a work of art uses an active process of the mind to visualize images in the work and incorporate these into the final product. An example of the resulting work is a double image or multiple image in which an ambiguous image can be interpreted in different ways to create a full scene. We will be showcasing this in the next two paintings we dissect. In this painting, old age, adolescence, and infancy, also known as the Three Ages, was painted in 1940 using oil on canvas. Dalí uses double images derived from his Paranoiac-Critical method to create the figurative faces of old age, adolescence, and infancy. In the Three Ages, glimpses of Port Lagat, a small village in Spain on the Mediterranean Sea, is seen through the archways where illusions of faces are shown. It's actually said that these openings were arches of local ruins that are actually near this little village. On the left, the bowed head of the woman from Jean-Francois Millet's painting Angelus makes up the eye of old age, and the hole in the brick wall forms her head's outline, and the rest of the figure forms the nose and mouth. The nose and mouth of adolescence, the figure in the center, is created from the head and scarf of Dalí's nurse sitting on the ground with her back to us. The eyes are formed from the two isolated houses seen in the hills across the Bay of Cadaqués. I tried to find more information on the nurse that all the texts referenced, but I really couldn't find any information on that. Going forward on the right, a fisherwoman repairing a net makes the barely formed face of infancy. I mean, you really have to squint to make the face out, but it's there. This painting is a visual puzzle illustrating the answer to the riddle of the Sphinx from the Greek tragedy Oedipus Rex. The riddle is, what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? The hero of the story, Oedipus, answers that man crawls on all fours in infancy, walks upright on 2 legs in adolescence, and uses a cane as a 3rd leg in old age. This entire visual is an homage to Dalí's interest in Greek mythology. Doing this, he has created 3 effective faces in the canvas, even though it's made completely out of different objects. The last painting we're going to take a look at by Dalí is the Hallucinogenic Toreador, which he painted between 1968 and 1970. This is a huge painting. I have actually had the pleasure of seeing it in person, and your jaw will just drop on the ground at how big this thing is. But in it, Dalí showcases his wife Gala's immense dislike for bullfighting. By combining symbolism with optical illusions and breaking apart familiar images like Venus de Milo, he creates his own visual world. His application of the Paranoiac-Critical method within the painting combines versatile images and unrelated objects. The whole scene is contained in a bullfight arena. Afternoon shadows go across to the left and show a swarm of the gadflies of Saint Narciso, who's the patron saint of Catalonia. When you stand back from the painting, you realize that the flies over the arena form the cap, hairnet, and cape of the bullfighter and the tear in his eye, as well as the shape of a dying bull in the lower left. A pool of the bull's blood and saliva turns itself into a covered bay with a sunbather on an inflatable mattress. And then the ship wreckage and cargo floating around it in the same bay in the lower section of the beach take on the shape of a Dalmatian dog, its head facing towards the pool of water. The green tie of the Toreador makes a visual twin of the shadows of Venus's garment, and the form of murdered bull rises to become the encompassing mountain landscape of Cape Cruas area around Port Legat, where this work was painted. In this, it says to say that the rose near its summit is actually a nod towards the mountains around the town of Rosas, which is where Dalí's studio is held. In conclusion, Dalí, in all his eccentric glory, had really developed a technique to create artwork that will make you take a second look in a visually stunning final piece that will make you question what is real and what is not real.